Hello, beautiful, and welcome to another Joyfully Ever After conversation with yours truly, Heidi Esther. I am a speaker and a storyteller and a joy coach. I empower women who take care of the world to break out of those, self-defeating emotional and thought loops. Think like perfectionism, mom guilt, imposter syndrome, and that cultivate some rich self-leadership skills and help them rewrite their stories to start with Joyfully Ever After. Now I can do this because I've been there. I'm like, I was a mommy doormat in the trenches, doing and being for everybody else, trying to just, take care of the world like we do, right? Like we need to do. And I walked through 10 years of what I call life's fun house of loss, grief, growth, some really bad karaoke and some poetry. And I discovered something even more miraculous than dark chocolate, which, it means it's really up there. My joy. I found my joyful purpose. So I have 17 years experience as a professional relationship builder and a veteran storyteller, mama, engineer, and poet. And while I can't necessarily remember where I put the keys, and like last week I lost my glasses for like 5 hours. They were on the windowsill. Don't even ask me. I can listen, I can hear my story, I can listen to your story and see the thousands of steps that I took to get to my joy, and I can see the steps for you to get to your Joyfully Ever After. All right. So I'm here creating a neighborhood where we peel back our layers and roles that no longer serve us so we can authentically connect with each other and ourselves and welcome in the beautiful joy. All right. So today is a Joyfully Ever After conversation. So what are those? These are journeys to joy of other empowering souls who are walking alongside us. So are you ready to put your happiness first and move towards living in joy? I know I am. All right. So I am going to bring on a super new, amazing friend and our special guest, Shandra Summerville. Welcome.
Hello.
How are you doing today?
I am well today. Thank you for asking.
Yay. Yes. All right. So I'm going to share a little bit about you and then you're going to fill in the blanks. So
Okay.
I know Shandra as a bold and courageous and fun-loving, and may I say, instead of bold, maybe fearless soul. Someone who she really leans into that discomfort to see what's there. She is a community advocate, and I know that she is strong in faith. And she is my fellow. That's what she said, sister. All right. Yay. Welcome. Fill in the blanks. Tell our community all about you.
So, to start with, I am a daughter. I do have parents. They are both transitioned, but they're still my parents. I am a sister and a mother, and I'm an aunt and a great aunt. But I learned the other day that I was not a great aunt. I was just a TT. So,
Oh, new word. New word
well,
there.
yeah, my great nephew told someone the other day that I was not his aunt. I was his TT. So I thought
Oh.
it was the sweetest thing.
Does that have some other like context?
Well, no,
Do you?
it's like short for aunt so
Oh, like
it's
auntie.
yeah.
TT.
So he called
Oh.
yeah, so the little people, the second generation have always called me TT. My oldest nephew always called me by my first name. And so I think I was younger then. So when I became an aunt, I absolutely love being an aunt. It's like the best thing ever. Like the best thing ever. I love being an
Ah.
aunt. Love being an aunt. And something that you said about me being a community active advocate. I actually consider myself more of a community healer, and I'm beginning to
Oh, I love
embrace
that.
that.
Hey,
I
talk
have
to me about
learned,
that.
yeah,
Yes.
I've learned that advocacy, activism, and sometimes in those roles, there's still like a power imbalance. And oftentimes, can even allyship is also
I see that.
balance. And so I don't want to take any of those titles on because I'm not going to take power away from people.
Mm,
I am here to inspire and encourage them to empower themselves. And so I think that's a form of
mm.
healing more so than it is me being an advocate, a community advocate.
I
So,
love that. I
yeah.
love that. Just showing up and when I talk about what I do, I always say that I love walking alongside women
Hmm.
because I believe that we are all just like completely and utterly equal.
Yeah.
Like and meeting people and trying to connect and see, like, my goal is to let you know that I can see the divine in you. Like that's how I show up, and so to try to inspire, and empower others to see that they are right, equal, and we can
Yeah.
eradicate all that imbalance and through the words we use.
Yeah. Through the
I
words we
love that.
use and
So, and
just
how we call
listening.
ourselves.
Hmm.
Mm.
Just listening sometimes. So, yeah. So I think I filled in most of those blanks. I have, so it was interesting, Heidi, that you talked about my photo on this picture, the picture that I gave you. So the photo that I took and that I shared with you, of course, it was a headshot for our sorority, but I had
Oh, okay.
never had professional headshots done
Oh.
before. And so it was well, I've had one professional headshot, but this one like was my absolute favorite headshot. And so since this was like my favorite headshot, I've like used it everywhere. And so people are like, "So are you promoting your sorority?" And I'm like, "I am a member of the sorority and the sorority is a part of me. So I'm not promoting anyone but who I am." And so I've been a member of Zeta Phi Beta for 25 years, and it really is a part of who I am and that space where I learned all the things like leadership and how to play well with other girls. And because I
That's
don't
so
have any,
important. Oh my
yeah,
gosh.
because I don't have any sisters. And so I was never required to share because I was all boys. So I had all
Oh.
the things that I needed to share. So the things that I do share with my brothers, it's more so of caring for them, not necessarily sharing with them.
Ah.
So
Yeah. So you bring out the nurture around the brothers, but around the sisters, you're like, all right.
yeah, so like we can, but it kind of is a good balance. And so I love the sisterhood. It's been just a phenomenal space for me. And then I also am a Rotarian, and so I'm a member of Champaign Rotary as well. And so Zeta
Yeah,
like
I want to talk
helped me.
about both of these now. So
Yeah.
like you have gotten so much like what is something that like either an experience you had with each of these organizations, or like something that you learned, or a difficult period you went through that you found that it was really supportive.
Sure. So with the sorority, when my mother passed away, that was when like I really knew I needed sisters, and I didn't even know how much I needed sisters until after my mother passed away. And my mother and I are a part of the same sorority. So just to see them show up when we did her burial ritual at her funeral, and there were over 70 members of our sorority that just showed up just in support of me, I would not have ever imagined that. And so it was kind of like a really great like built-in support system that's not just local, it's international. So I have sorority sisters all over the world. literally.
That's great. It's like you have a home no matter where you go.
I do. I told someone I dated, like, if you need for me to
Mm.
move anywhere, you can take me to the moon. I will be okay. Like, if you need me to move and go somewhere like with you and say, we're moving here, I'll be okay because there's a Rotary Club somewhere and there's a sorority somewhere. And if it's not, I could start it. And I know how. I know how many people it takes, and I know how to start one.
Wow. So have you actually have you started a Rotary? Did you start a Rotary here or
No, so like they give you tools on how to create your own
oh,
club. So like you know how to start and build a satellite club. Like they give you all the tools and the resources to build it. And so you just build it however you choose to build it. If it's not one there. Like it's plenty
yeah.
of like it's plenty of Rotary clubs. And if it's not one, then you find a need and you start it and you get people together and do it.
I love that. I love that. So why okay, so why Rotary? Like let's get into Rotary. Like you have been a member for a while.
Yes, I have. I think it's coming up on like 9 years. I can't believe it's been that long. Yeah.
So what was the spark that you were like, I'm gonna join Rotary? Was
Okay,
it
let's
with the
be clear.
people? Yeah.
It was not a spark. Someone brought me in their office and said, "You're gonna do this." My former supervisor
Okay.
and the incoming president, and they were both like, "Hey, we think you'll be fantastic in Rotary," and I was like, "Why?" And then they said, we think that like your professional expertise and you really could help us diversify Rotary. I said, there is no, I don't see myself represented at all.
Oh no.
And believe it or not, my father was a Rotarian for over
Oh,
25 years before he
wow.
passed away. So I
Okay.
was familiar with Rotary, but I was not familiar with being a member of Rotary. So I just didn't see myself like represented at all. And then I got invited to be a part of a group study exchange. They do not have
Oh.
these anymore.
Yeah,
And
what is that?
it's an opportunity where you go on vocational exchange with some people from a different country. So I
Ooh.
went to Romania for 26 days.
Wow.
Yep. And a group here came to Champaign, Urbana. And so that's how we did the exchange. And so that was when like the spark of Rotary really like say, okay, where they say you're not a member of Rotary, you're now a Rotarian. That's when I became a Rotarian.
Oh, wow. Wow. So they don't continue that work study anymore?
So it's called a friendship exchange now, and it's a little bit shorter time span than the month that we would spend over there previously. I think it's like a week now.
Wow. Wow, that is phenomenal. So you got the spark when you went to Romania, and I feel like we could spend a whole show talking about what happened in Romania. Can you just give me like did you learn more about Rotary when you were there, or did you learn just more about like Romania and how like awesome it was that they had this program?
It was more of like a living experience. So I am in my role day to day. I'm a cultural competence coordinator. So it's cultural and linguistic competence. Cultural competency is being able to effectively operate and interact in cross cultural situations. And linguistic competence is the ability to communicate so it's easily understood. So in my role, I try to live it. And so that was one way that I had to live it. So I didn't necessarily
Yeah.
know the language, but I definitely listened a whole lot, and just kind of immersed myself in the culture for those days. I just had one boundary that I had when I was over there, that I would not eat the eyes of the fish. So I just said, "Can you behead my fish? Like, I will eat everything else you all put in front of me, but not
And that's
not the fish
okay.
head." And they were like, "Sure." So they cut my head off. And then I got to the Rotary conference, and guess what? It was a fish head. So I ended up, so it was kind of like, okay.
A little extra protein
Yeah. So,
ish
yeah.
situation.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. So before we get too much further, anyone who is listening or watching live or listening to this, watching the replay, please feel free to let us know how you're doing in the chats, as well as if you have any questions for Chandra or myself during this conversation, put them there, and then I will make sure that Chandra gets them if they are for her. And you can always email me at howdy@HeidiEster.com. And Carrie Rosso says, love it.
Oh, hey, Carrie Rosso.
Hello, Carrie. So good to see you on here. Oh, I feel like we got so much good thing. I want to just get back to one thing that you said that really struck with me. And it was all the way, it was more in the beginning when we were talking. You said that one of the most key components of really being able to show up like as what you do is listening. And so and I talked with someone was it last week about mindfulness, and we talked about listening and like how we have to listen to our like a committee in our head, like if we have an inner critic, and like what that means for mindfulness. Like, do I need a nap? Am I just gonna have a Diet Coke, So I just want to reflect that listening's so huge.
It really is. And not just listening to respond, but just listening really to understand. I think that is a huge problem that the world has nowadays. We listen to understand so that we can respond instead of just listen just to understand. Not to give our opinions, not to give our responses. I was just on a call about that just right before our session today. And I just told them, like, hey, I'm listening to you all and I'm holding the space for you all to be. They were like, do you have any thoughts? I said, I have a whole lot of them. And it is not time for me to tell you what I think, nor is it time for me to give you any solutions. I think right now you all just need to be heard, and I need to just hold your hearts right now. And so when you can do that, and that's the healing part. That's why I'm not that's why I don't call myself an advocate, ally, or activist. I really am more of a healer.
I love that. I love that so much. Just being able to and this is a mantra that I have, and I don't know if it resonates with you, but I get so excited to connect with people because I feel like I get to just like put us in a little nest, like we're two little baby birds, and I just get to see you for who you are.
Mm-hmm.
I just get to be there in that space. And it's so much more exciting and so much more liberating. So I used to, in my pre-self-awareness days, I called myself now I call myself the interrupting chicken. So I was brought up to be right, and I had to always try to prove myself right. So my lack of self-worth and my lack of self-awareness didn't listen, right? I was just trying to like raise my hand in class, always be right, and like interrupt people because I had that fear inside. I didn't feel whole, even though I was whole. I didn't feel like I just felt like I had to interrupt. And so now that I've gone through a journey where I can have that conversation with myself, right, and listen to myself, I can now radically listen to others just to see try to see them. That's my goal, is try to see people for who they are. That's my goal of the conversation, not to win. I remember my oldest brother growing up, my parents got him this pad of paper, and it was always struck me as like so indicative. It was like, he who shouts loudest wins.
It depends on the game.
What a game was life. And not the board game. And so now that I don't know, I feel that is just so important, and to be seen, right? Just to be seen for who you are. Like, you're this magnanimous, beautiful, caring human. And whenever I get in your field, Shandra, I can't stop smiling, because I haven't seen you in a few months either. And I'm just like, what's Shandra been doing? So anyway, usually I ask a question at the beginning of all my conversations, and I want to circle back to this one conversation. Shandra, how are you taking care of yourself today?
So I took time to move in spite of me not wanting to today. I am on a daily journey of wellness, and I took space and time to move in spite of me wanting to stay in the bed and scroll on Facebook and get all of my joy from laughing at videos and different things. And also what interrupted that was I got like a couple of messages that just kind of like could have thrown my whole day off. And so I try to take at least a 5-minute walk every day. Like, no matter what the weather is, no matter what happens, I get outside for 5 minutes. And that's the bare minimum. And so I try to do that daily. And so that is my movement in spite of not wanting to move. And then I also sit in silence with a cup of tea that's unsweetened, and just sit in silence with my tea. So that's what I did to take care of myself today.
Chandra, that is beautiful. I was just having a conversation the other week with a woman. She's a founder of a business called Blended Balance, and it's she basically like works with people to find how they can find joy in how they move. Because we get programmed. Like, I remember like growing up, like there was a Stairmaster in my living room, and it was always like, if you're gonna move, it has to be hard and it has to be not fun. And so now, like at this phase in my life, like I incorporate, like I swim, and then I ride my bike to like the library, which is like my second office, and so like I'm finding all these little joy points. And so yeah, you get a little 5-minute walk or plus more.
Oh yeah,
your little
plus
joy point.
more. Yeah, it's and my mantra or my hashtag for myself is joy is a requirement. And so it's because joy cannot come from things happening. You got to find joy in spite of what's happening. And so that is kind of my mantra, and I have definitely found joy in walking over the past few years. Yeah,
I love that. Do you do you normally go into nature, like hiking, or is it more just like, do you have a route? Because I do a set route with my dogs all the time, and that's how I can create that little happy place, because I do podcast, dogs, route, go.
Yeah, it's never the same. And that's the joy in it, is that I choose not to make it regimented in that way. It really is. Today, I'm just going to hit the pavement. Wherever the pavement leads me, I will go. And so sometimes it's in nature, sometimes it's in my backyard, sometimes it's in my neighborhood. It just depends.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. Just keeping it, you're just kind of keeping it loose. And so allowing, right? Allowing your body and your intuition and, just to be like, oh, today is the day we're going to do this and just going with it, right? Listening.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, because when you start, there's no joy in all of the stuff that you just are trying to figure out, did I do it right? So if you just get up and move and don't try to count all the steps all the time. It's nice when I hit my step goal, but if I don't, I was actually reflecting on that the other day. I missed a step goal, like it was like by 34 steps. And I could have easily gotten up and just made it. And I said, what if I don't today? What will happen tomorrow?
I love that. Just meeting yourself with a little compassion.
Yeah,
saying,
absolutely.
Just like, I tried my best and I came really close, and
it wasn't even the
and
best.
I did great.
It wasn't even my best. It was just, I just moved today.
Yeah.
My best is if I walk 5 minutes. My best is if I drink my water and stay hydrated. My best is if I have eaten some food that nourishes me. And my best is if I get at least 6.5 hours of sleep. Those are my personal best.
Those are your marks for taking care of all those different levels.
And usually if you get all those things done in a day, you usually are going to be okay. You're like, you just will. Like,
because you meet the day on a full tank, right?
You do.
Then you meet the day on a full tank.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I could say that it's I don't know. I wouldn't know, like, I don't get a lot of my days on full tank, but then when I wake up in the morning and then I ask myself this question, I was like, how can I take care of myself now that I feel like crap? And so then I like build in little, like, oh, I'm going to do like a meditation, or that might be a meditation that turns into a nap or something.
Yeah.
And right, to get to that full tank, right? And just say, like, I'm just going to take compassionate care of myself until then. I love that. All right. So, okay. So we are going to move into our session called The Journey to Joy. And
that makes me dance.
Yay.
Okay.
So, and also I do after this, I really do want to talk about what your experience, as she said, was. But Shandra, can you tell me about like a difficult season you went through in your life, or a decision that you made that maybe unbeknownst to you, it ended up creating more of you and more of what you were looking for? Can you describe that? Like, tell us a story on that time, and then kind of figure out, like, what were the steps?
So I want to make sure I preface this, because I have about 10 roads to joy that lead to, like, that there are about 10 paths that lead to joy. And so I will tell you about one of the paths. That I will just say that it's a clear that I saw, like, okay, I was so glad about this. So, as you know, and I said this, and that's what she said, my mother and I were on vacation in California, and we decided to go to an amusement park. And she was like, I'm gonna sit out here on this bench and I'm gonna just sit. You all can go and have a good time, and that's fine. And so we, when I say fantastic, it was absolutely like a fantastic day. Like, we had fabulous food. We had a fantastic dinner. And that night we were exhausted. And one of the things my mother had me to do is she would say, hey, will you twist my hair before I go to bed? Because it's a process of putting her hair up so that she could go to bed. And so she was like, I want you to do this. And so normally I'm resistant, but this particular day I just said, okay, I will do it. So I did it, put her hair up, everything that she had asked me to do. That next morning, we were getting up, getting dressed, getting ready to go to Hollywood so that we could see the Hollywood Walk of Fame.
Oh.
And we were about to leave out, and I tapped her on the shoulder, and she was cold. And I said, wait a minute, what is just happening? So she transitioned while we were on vacation. And that was, we were in California, thousands of miles away from Illinois. My father was visiting family up in the Bay Area and was joining us back in Southern California later on that day for a baby dedication. And so I had to notify my father that his wife died of 47 years. It was devastating. Devastating for me, devastating just for our whole family on how we just like lost she was the fixture, the fixer, the rock in our family. And so it was like, you don't know how you're going to live without a mother. I didn't know how I was going to live. And so moving through that path and still finding joy and trying to do life without her was really hard. This was before my 40th birthday. So I wasn't 40 years old yet. So I was young. And so having to go into the 40s without your mother is like, it's devastating. And I, kind of tell people when they have that milestone of their 40th birthday, like, I want you to know how grateful you are on this side that you have your mother to be able to give you wisdom about the aging process that you may not even have known about or even. And so I kind of had to do that without my mother on my own and just trying to figure out, of course, my father was still present, but just different things that I know she would have been there to advocate for me or just kind of be that buffer in the middle. She wasn't present physically. So I had to garner strength to speak up for myself and be able to speak out about some things and stand up to things that I normally wouldn't have been able to do had my mother been alive. And so I will say what that taught me and what that brought me is a greater appreciation of the things that she left behind, but also what she gifted me as a mother. Like, I have so much more perspective and just compassion about things, but also I know the types of things that we did before she transitioned and how she like wanted to live that life out. And so I kind of feel like I'm doing it for her. So she was a geography teacher and she always wanted to travel and go and see places that she taught about. And so me being able to go and see all of those things that she talked about, I want to, experience all 50 states. I think I'm at 39 right now. And so that's So it's kind of nice to be able to say, like, hey, mom, so, and I believe she's alive on the other side. And so she gave me a book. I actually keep it in travel, it travels with me, but I actually have it right here.
Oh, I can't.
Yeah, I know I'm blurred.
I know it's a little blurred. It
But
looks like
it's
a nice pink.
called The Greatest Gift of All is a Daughter Like You, Loving Thoughts from the Heart of a Parent. And so what she did was she wrote personal messages in there for me.
Oh, wow.
And she gave this to me, I think like in 2006. And so all of those years I had it, but like now I have her own words, like telling me that she's proud of me. So when people tell me, oh, your mother would be so proud, I'd be like, I already knew that. Like, it's not even a surprise. Like, your mother would be so proud of you. Oh, she already was. And she wrote it and wrote all about it. And so I have documentation of her words and her affirmation for me. And so although she has passed, I miss her very much. She's given me her words that carry me to all of the things and through all of the things that I'm able to do now.
That is one of like the greatest gifts, right? It kind of wraps you in, like in this phase in your life after she's transitioned, it wraps you in her love, like present.
Yeah.
In the present.
Yeah. And so that journey of her dying suddenly on vacation, thousands of miles away from home. I had to fly home by myself. I couldn't even fly home with my dad. I couldn't take her ticket. Like, that was a path. So to know from there I'm here and can still fly, I can still stay in hotels by myself, I can still see the world and do these things and without fear, is a blessing. Because had I allowed it, her, because she died in a hotel, it could have really impacted my worldview and my outlook on just living.
Yeah, she left you with this gift that you can already do everything that you need to do.
Yeah. But I didn't know how I was going to do it without her though.
Yeah.
Like, it was the craziest thing. Yeah.
That is it. I want to say thank you. Thank you for sharing that story, and like continuing on the journey. I knew, I knew the pre-story to that. And yeah, just being able, it sounds like your journey, and then at that point, then your sisters, right? Once you came back here, your sisters wrapped you up.
Yes, they did. They showed all the, like, even when I was in California, like, they were calling, making sure I was sleeping, making sure, like, just checking, like what sisters do.
Yeah, making sure you're taking care of yourself.
Yeah,
yeah. They can't be there to be like, here's some soup.
Yeah.
Here's casserole I made. Oh, I love that. I love that. And it's just like those times is like sometimes we get support from like unlikely places or unexpected places.
Yeah.
But yeah, that is so beautiful.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that. Oh my gosh. So now, so you went through this big journey, right? This big solo journey into this new phase of your life. And so did that experience with your mom transitioning and leaning into learning that you can lean into all these things and that your mom, you might have leaned on her a little bit before, but now you can do it, right? You can do it yourself. So what did that change your perspective on like what joy and fulfillment looks like for you in your life? Did it give you different guardrails, or do you have a different vision now?
So absolutely. It's so when you don't have the protection of your people, like one of the things that I know about motherhood, when you do it and you do it as well as you can, there are some mothers that can't do it well. They just don't have it in them because they just can't do it.
Yeah, they're not wired that way. A lot, some
Yeah,
humans
they're
are not
just
wired that
aren't.
way.
And
Yeah.
so one of the things that I respected just about what my mother, the what she gave, was even while she was living, she gave us our ability to think. I think a lot of times mothers want to control it for their children, and she gave me skills and tools on how to think for myself. And so now I can think, like really, not just feel, but think.
I love that. I love that. I just had this whole image of like you give a man a fish and you feed him for a day, but you teach him how to fish and you feed him for his life, right? And so your mom said, I'm done feeding you fish. Here's your pole."
But here's the cool part about it is that she fed me fish to the very end, right? So it was, she didn't just, all right, go fish.
Mhm.
She continued to give me the fish until she passed away. And
Mhm.
I think oftentimes people use that metaphor
Ah,
because they think it's
I
for
get
you
it.
to be self sufficient. But what it really does is it teaches you interdependence, not
Mm,
codependence,
mhm.
but interdependence on, I'm here to fish, I'm here to give you the fish, receive the fish, because the fish is a gift.
Mhm. Yeah.
And I'm going to teach you how to fish, even
Also.
though I'm giving you the fish too.
Mhm.
Like all of that is, I think, important. And so that's what she taught me. Like, you can still give fish, you can still teach how to fish, you can learn how to fish. And if I'm ever not around you, you will have the ability, the skills to go and get the fish and fish for yourself,
Mm.
even when it's uncomfortable.
Mhm. I love that.
Yeah.
And so would you say now, continuing on this metaphor, um, that you are now sharing the fish, right? You're fishing and sharing the fish. And so
Yes.
it creates like just a cascade effect of goodness, right?
Yeah, it
Of
does.
feeding.
Yeah, and I think that's a lot of the challenges in community is that we take like the one part and just say, okay, go fly. And also understand that even while you're flying, there's still community that's still needed. And
Mhm.
sometimes your wing may break. So what happens when your wing breaks or your fish
Mhm.
is bad?
Yeah.
What
Then you
happens?
are gonna need, right? Then you need
You're
the
gonna
help
need
of the
other.
people's fish.
I don't care how much you know how to fish. You still need fish.
Mm. I love this. I was listening to a show, I think it was sometime during the pandemic. Um, and it was about trying to tackle the homeless problem. I think it was in Southern California. And there is a nonprofit that is just raising money to build houses to put people in them. And they're not like they're not providing like they're providing other layers of assistance, but they're also just saying, here's a pole, right? Here's a whole house and we're paying for it. And so to try to tackle the problem, because there's so many, apparently there was so much fighting over all these different ways about how to get people, how to resolve the homeless issue. in Southern California, and there's just one nonprofit that's just knocking it out of the park. They're like, we're just building houses for people.
That's
We are.
another podcast that I have a whole lot of opinions about.
I don't know if I'm the most knowledgeable host for that one. We'll have to. I'll have to find somebody so I can learn from you.
Have a whole lot of opinions about that. Yeah.
But yeah, so true. So we all need, right? There are times we all need more fish, and then sometimes we can fish for ourselves and provide, right? We all have seasons of life where we lean into one or the other, and it's okay, and it's all okay.
It is okay.
Shared humanity. That was a theme for myself today, is like common humanity, right? That's something that we all can do.
Yeah, absolutely.
I love that. I love this conversation so much. So good. So, Shandra, so we are getting to the end.
Oh,
and
okay.
I know. It seems like we just started a conversation. And so normally I do this little thing called the spotlight moment.
Okay.
And I would love if you could share. I know we talked a little bit, you talked some about, how you show up in the world, but just tell our community about your peculiar genius. Like, what is your unique mix of talents and traits that make you so good at showing up to be a healer?
Oh gosh. So I will say I have a good mix of I don't know if you listen to hip hop or whatever, but I'm a good mix of salt, pepper, sugar, and spice. Like I'm a good mix of all of those things in the world. And so because I got salt, I got good flavor to me. Pepper, there's a lot of there's some spice in here too. And I can overpower it if I need to. Definitely a sweet spot. And then the spice is the thing that'll give it even the flavor and the added thing. So I'm a good mixture of salt, pepper, sugar, and spice. Like all the things.
I love that. I'm going to say I experienced you having a lot of wisdom and a lot of compassion. And there is a very large component of like a big nurturing spirit in there. And there's a little playful. And
there's a cuss you out one too. So like it'll all come, like if it needs to come, it can come. It doesn't come often. It's a firm like boundary. It's there. That's why, like I said, it's sugar, spice, sweet, salt, and pepper. Like all of that.
It's like the whole package.
It is. It really, really is. And I have learned, and like I said, the cuss you out, I learned that. I learned how to really manage that well. I can use my words. And so because I am a healer, I also know when your words and your not just nice words, but how you feel behind those words matter too. And so I also know that nice words have also harmed a lot of people too. So not just kindness, but just nice words, which is why I like empathy more so than practicing kindness. I prefer empathy.
Empathy gets to being able to see and nice and kind. They can just be a frosting on a spicy cake that you don't want.
Absolutely. But that spice and that sweet and that sugar goes a bit to the core. And so I definitely can see that. And that's what actually helps me move and be able to be in all of the variety of spaces that I can operate in. And even people that have been canceled, I have found solid in space of providing care for the canceled as well. Just to remind them that they matter and that they still need people just to listen. So
keep that door. It keeps the door open. It says, if you do come to my door, I will give you a fish.
I will. I will. And you don't have to take my fish just because I offered it. Just know that it's there and you can come and get it whenever. Now, if it starts stinking too bad, I will throw it away. And if it's no more, it's no more.
But it's what's underneath the gesture of the fish.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes. Oh, I love that. All right. So before we go, we are going to do 2 quick things. So,
okay.
Shandra, if you had a magic wand and everyone you touched it would instantly believe whatever you told them, what would you say?
If I had a magic wand and instantly wave it, bam, you are enough. That's what I would say.
So coming to the plate with the full heart.
Yes, you are enough.
That even plate.
Yeah,
I love that.
And I did the wand. Did you see that?
Yeah. Boom. That was a swish and flick moment right there. Total swish and flick. All right. So my parting gift to you is an affirmation from the snowman of affirmation. I think you can kind of see.
Yes, I see the
glass
snowman.
little face right here.
Yes.
All right. So I have green, orange, pink, and yellow affirmations. Do you have a color?
You said green, orange, pink, and yellow. Let's do orange for our colors today.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
All right. Shandra, this is, I am lovable, loving, and loved. So you are lovable, loving, and loved.
I love that. I am lovable, loving, and loved.
It's a big hug right there. And I'm going to also pull an orange for our colors today.
Okay.
And mine, I am making positive changes in the world.
Nice.
Yay.
I love that.
All right. Well, Shandra, this was absolutely delightful. I just loved having you on the show. And if anyone has any comments or questions for Shandra when you're watching this in the replay, please feel free to drop them in the chat. So thank you so much for joining me at Joyfully Ever After, Shandra, and have to have you back on here sometime. And when you get on that podcast about talking about homelessness, you let me know and I'll put the link right down here so everyone can listen.
Okay.
All right. Thanks so much, Shandra.
Okay. Thank you, Heidi.